mean, I have to maintain a completely clean environment in my head, and people's challenges and difficulties, as in songs. I don't want to take on that burden, if that makes sense, because I really believe that it's the same with the whole manosphere thing. I cannot believe I sat watching this stuff, and it's so addictive, and I can't understand. I mean, I've cleaned it out, I really have, but it's like, why take on the burden of something that doesn't even, you need to know what's going on in the world, of course. And I'm really interested in youth culture and understanding people and what's going on in the world. But anything that's negative or extra and doesn't apply to you, why would you sit and feed that into your head? Because I don't believe in any of it. As an example, I was thinking about how men in the manosphere constantly tell women. I was thinking about this week. They constantly tell women or men, other men, that they should find a submissive woman or someone who, takes the lead and all this kind of stuff. And it feels very strange to me because in the world that I operate and in the type of men that I've been in relationships with in the past, men want and admire women who are accomplished. It's one of the many reasons I'm not dating at the moment, because I need to feel accomplished to be able to date someone who is also accomplished. And by accomplished, I don't necessarily mean in their job. It could be anything, but they just have to have a passion for something, a lust for something. I think that's really important, because if they don't have a passion or lust for something, then they're just morose. They have nothing to wake up for. They have nothing that ignites their spirit. They have nothing that gives them this amazing aura. And I've always found that very strange in the manosphere context, like date women who are submissive, or date women who will stay at home and do this, that, another. Because even in traditional cultures like the Persian culture, the Iranian culture, the women are so accomplished. In fact, more women are in STEM subjects in Iran than men. And so that's just standards, that the man and woman are equally accomplished and well educated. And remember, when I say well educated, it's got nothing really to do with university. It's just about being curious and interested and all that kind of stuff. So I've always thought that this manosphere aspect of teaching other men to date women who are not accomplished, and please don't get it twisted that by saying that I'm saying that women who stay at home and look after the kids are not accomplished. Not at all. I think the most important job, if you're going to work for someone, why would you? Why not look after your own children? Like that's a much more joyous and more important job than working for someone. But if you have a passion and you're doing something for yourself, of course you must explore that, and of course you must give everything to it, because that has an influence on your children as well. If you're going to have children, they can see that mum and dad love what they do or feel passionate about something, and that ignites their interest or passion for doing something that they're going to find enjoyable or have a lifelong relationship with. And this week I met a couple who had it all. Incredibly attractive people, both of them, both accomplished and successful in their own right, successful lifestyle, beautiful children, and they actually looked happy. They looked like they were really happy together, and it was so nice to see. And I thought, this is lovely, this is so beautiful, and I'm sure they were both equally proud of each other because of their accomplishments. I think men who don't want women to accomplish things or be successful in their own right. And by successful, is again, it's not related to career. It can be if you want it to be, but it's more about success in doing what you love, finding your passion, finding what gets you up in the morning. Yeah, and I think they were equally, they respected each other and each other's modus operandi. And I've always thought that the manosphere who teaches men not to date these type of women, I think they're really threatened by women who are accomplished or have a passion for something, or whose sole focus is not the man, because then that means that the man also has to step up and be brilliant. And that can be hard for some people. I think it can be hard for some women. It can also be hard for some men. And yeah, I think it's bad advice ultimately, because why do all these divorces end up happening? I think that because some of these women, A, feel jealous of the man and his progression in terms of his career, perhaps, or that he's got something outside of the house to occupy his time with. Yeah, jealousy, I think. Envy, jealousy. We all have we all have been brought into this earth to do something special, whatever that may be. And if that special means raising children, all power to you. But at the same time, for other people, it's not necessarily just that. So I'm looking at this family and they're just lovely people. The children are a delight. And it was so nice. The only thing was that the mum was slightly anxious around the children. And I thought her whole world was occupied by them. I think both parents, but more so her. And I think that would have been something that would have been very difficult for me, because if I would have had children, I would have wanted to give them 100% of myself. But the downside of that would have been that I would have lost the sense of myself and maybe you can manage it. I'm not sure. I really haven't, because I did think that they were a little bit too involved almost. And I would have been the type of parent that would have just made sure those kids were independent very early on. Do whatever it is you want to do, as long as you also do well at school. Even though I don't really particularly. I think the education system is massively flawed, but just do what you have to do at school if you're going to school, and at the same time find whatever it is that is your passion and just give it 100%. And then I would just let them I would let loose. I'm also someone who, when I'm around kids or children or young people, I talk to them like I talk to adults. Sometimes adults find that really strange, but I think they're just, why would we talk to them like why put that voice on? It's just not, it's not my vibe. I treat them as my equals, and I think if I had had my own children, that's what I would have done. But you don't know until you're in the position. Maybe you think you're going to be a certain way, and then you turn out being someone completely different. I really don't know. And it's a big risk to take for someone like me who's, I think, naturally joyous, which is something that you guys don't really see. But I noticed it when I was around this family that day. I noticed that I like to laugh. And I noticed that they didn't really laugh a lot, but they were lovely, lovely people. And mum, the mother, she's so feminine and so easy to talk to. She's British, like British. And I've always thought that, especially in England, I think it's different, or rather in London. The woman that you come across in London can be very masculine, but she was incredibly feminine. And it's so rare to come across women like her in London. And I found it so easy to converse with her. It was so enjoyable talking to her, and I could just be myself. And yeah, it was really nice. It was nice to find. It's nice that there are women like her, feminine but super accomplished in what she does. So it was just so refreshing to be around people. Like, I actually think the manosphere is like the biggest grift, and what people put out on the internet about relationships, I don't think it's the reality. Maybe it is. I really don't know, because I'm so disconnected from it all. It's not my motive. My focus isn't on that stuff at the moment, so I'm not involved in that stuff. But yeah, and one other thing that I was thinking about this week is that 18 minutes. I read a comment that I thought was amazing, fantastic comment. I think it's on this phone. But someone had said, if you're going to date or find a ideal woman, find someone who's a farm girl, or who, i.e., raised on a farm, or someone who was super athletic and had to work in a team, because it's those women, and I think people, it's those women, he said, it's those women who are team players and who are workers, like either on a farm or athletic, like you have to achieve some kind of goal. He said it's those women that will be excellent partner. Random thoughts and minds coming into my head. Partner. They'll be great girlfriends, wives, lovers to have. And I thought this was such a fantastic comment, because I agree 100%. Someone who's used to working in a team, and someone who's used to achieving a goal in a team, and someone who's used to pushing themselves physically, mentally, that will stay with them until the end of time. And you want to be around people who are team players, because if you're not, people who are not team players can cause so much difficulty and damage to your life. In the world that I'm in, I have to always manage people's, I'm not a manager, you guys, but by extension of what I do, I just have to manage people, because I have a unique ability to move between intuition, emotional intelligence, and logic. And I find that a lot of the people that I deal with, some of whom are men, are not logical, but mostly it's the women in the third parties who are not logical. But I've recognized that it's these people who are not team players, who cannot see the consequences of not being a team player, who are very much self-motivated. And it's okay to be self-motivated if you are not harming anyone else. But if your self-motivation causes difficulty and trouble for the group, then all hell breaks loose. And I really realized this when I was living in Japan, because as much as I say that Japan took away a lot of my va-va-voom, one of the great things that it did do for me was instill this idea of being a team player. Now, the cost of that in Japan is that people have groupthink and they cannot think individually. This works for the culture and the people because they get things done. I guess it's the same in Chinese society. It's all about the group and how to achieve as much as possible for the group, and everyone benefits. The downside of that is that you lose your sense of self and your own motivations for life. But I think there's a really nice balance where you can work in a team, whether it's in a family structure, whether it's in a group structure, in a work structure, relationship structure, but also have your own goals and motivations. That's the ideal scenario. And dating men or women who are not team players, and say, for example, in the manosphere, who think that they have to tell women what to do and the woman has to just to follow, and the woman just has to follow. Or on the flip side, on the female side, women who just have no, who are entitled and just have no concept of how difficult it can be for men to live the lives of men, and so they don't put in as much as the man does. All of this is, you have to be careful of this, whether you're a man or a woman. And yeah, I just thought that was such a fantastic comment. I thought this guy gets it. He really understands what to look out for. The people who are the most difficult to deal with, in my experience, are the ones who, it's rare to come across people who are intuitive and emotionally intelligent and logical at the same time. It's rare to find those people. So let's focus on people who just have one or the other. People who are just maybe too emotional, they cannot think logically, and people who are too logical, they're not heart connected, and so there's a coolness or coldness about them. So they don't necessarily make the best lovers, boyfriends, girlfriends, because you do need a heart connection. But people who cannot employ logic, even if it's not something that they're used to, but if they don't train themselves in this aspect of being logical, they can cause a lot of conflict and difficulty. Why do I think about that? I'm trying to think of a good example because this is really important. I constantly talk about this word lajbazi, which is a Persian word. I know that one of my viewers, he told me the English equivalent once, but I've forgotten, and I can't exactly find the English equivalent that really describes lajbazi. But someone who's lajbaz is someone who sort of cuts off their nose to spite themselves, and who's sort of obtuse, lajbazi. I need this translated because it's come up in French. No idea. Translate to French, please. Translate to English. This is so important. You just gave it to me. Google AI is useless. It really is. I don't really vibe with Google AI. Lajbazi in English, what does it mean? ChatGPT is much better, but I'm not going to be saying anything more negative about ChatGPT because it came through for me this week in an emergency. I couldn't believe it. It literally walked me through what I had to do, and I did it as it told me what to do. The scary thing for me about using artificial intelligence is that I'll lose my ability to think for myself. It terrifies me. So what I've been doing is I've been thinking about things myself, giving it to chat, and then asking what chat thinks of it, so that at least I've done the thinking, and then chat just fine tunes my thinking and gives me information that I won't necessarily have thought of. This is the best way for me to use ChatGPT. My frustration with ChatGPT has been that creatively it doesn't understand what I want, but maybe that's how it's supposed to be. Creatively, I'm supposed to be creative on my own. That's something unique to me. I can't the robot to understand creativity. The The other issue I previously had with chat is that it wastes so much of my time because it doesn't understand nuance. They fine-tuned the new version and it's not as sycophantic, is that a word, as it previously was. I'm like, I don't need someone to gas me up. I don't need a gasser upper. I just need someone who's truthful and honest. Just give me the facts. Tell me the honest truth and I'll deal with it. I'm not someone who wants, I don't need to be ingratiated. So that was my issue previously with chat. It seems that this new version is a little bit more controlled in that regard. But so I can't say anything negative anymore about ChatGPT. If I ever do, pull me up, please, because it really came through for me this week, and I was amazed. I really was. But yeah, no, not to using it for creativity. Large bossy in English, what does it mean? Okay, large bossy, Persian, translates to stubbornness, obstinacy, or headstrongness in English. It describes the behavior of someone who refuses to change their mind, compromise, or listen to others, often out of spite or a desire to have the last word. Oof. The root word is laj, which means a grudge, spite, or a petty resolve to oppose someone. The suffix bazi means playing. So together, lajbazi literally translates to playing stubborn or spiteful games. This is the beauty of Farsi, Persian. It's just so poetic. It's such a poetic language. It is often used to describe childish arguments, bickering, or someone digging their heels in during a disagreement purely because they want to win. It frequently appears in the common pairing lajo lajbosi. So lajbosi people are the bane of my existence. Not only are they screwing themselves over, but on top of that, they're creating more work for me. And having to manage these type of people is exhausting. It's exhausting. I do think there's an element of narcissistic personality disorder or some type of personality disorder involved in people who are large bossy, who are large boss. And the reason for this is because they cannot think about how their behavior is not only costing them, but it's also costing others. Now, they might not care about other people, but to not be able to recognize how their large bossy is costing themselves is such a shame. It's such a shame. I've seen this happen time and time again, and they just mess or screw themselves over as a result. And how do you stay distant from these people? In a work environment, it's very easy. You can just, I think, you can just change jobs, or you can. I've chosen a field where I don't have to deal with people in an office setting. I've never fully been challenged. I've never fully realized my potential, but it has been purposeful so that I am not dealing with people who bring extra stress to my life and people who just are problematic. You do not want to be around problematic people. Not only do they screw themselves over, but they also take away your joy of life as well. I forgot I was saying something and I lost my trail of thought. I don't know if I said this, but someone who doesn't have any regard for the cost of their lajbazi to themselves are people to avoid if you can, unless you just have no choice because they're your children or they're your, I don't know, you can get off boyfriends and girlfriends, I guess, or your family. Those scenarios are slightly different. We have to manage it as much as possible, but in terms of dating, at least, stay away from large bossy people. I do not date large bossy people. I never have and I never will. these are not people who, I mean, I'm sure I've gone out on dates with people like this and recognized quickly that they're people with these tendencies. But anyone who tries to disturb my peace or disturb my joy for life is someone who doesn't care about me. And if they don't care about me, then what is the point in being with them? You want to be with people who not only love themselves to the max, but also love you by extension. Because when you love yourself, you want nothing but the best for everyone else. When you love yourself, you want nothing but the best for everyone else. Okay? Don't know how these conversations always end up in me. It wasn't. I came just to have a chilled out day, but yeah, it's been an intense week, and I just don't want to talk about it. But today's sunny, cooler, and we have drum and bass in Hamburg. Should I have been there? I love Hamburg. Hamburg's my city in Germany. It's my favorite city in Germany. I don't know that if I had to be there, I would have liked to have been there, but I don't necessarily know that I had to be there. I do miss Germany, and I would love to go back. But maybe the timing's just not right for Germany and me at the moment. Germany and I. I do need to go on a drum and bass ride very soon. It's just that I have to pick the right location because my toe is not recovering. I'd made this video for you guys earlier this week and I uploaded it and then I just took it down because I thought my favorite videos are ones where there's no meaning or purpose to the video and I'm just riffing. But I'm also conscious that I don't want to take up people's time. And so those videos, as much as I prefer them, they feel somewhat less useful. And I don't know if it has to be useful, but I do think that time is of the essence and we must be careful of what we watch. So yeah, my toe is playing up and I can't go on the rides where I have to run. So I have to pick rides where I know to a 90% certainty that it's going to be slow most of it, and maybe points. There'll be points where he runs really fast. The Milan ride was great like that. It was doable. And then moments when it just sped up. I wish I had been at that Milan ride, but it's okay. So yeah, I really need it. I'm really feeling like I need to go to drum and bass. I really need the release. Is there anything else I wanted to say today? No, I think that's it for now. Shall we end with a tune? Let me see what else I have in my secret place. I found a Liquid DnB channel called Liquid R DnB, which is just all liquid tracks. Perfecto. No, I think that's all for now. I did find a Chris Isaak Wicked Game drum and bass version. Fine, I'll play it for you. I think it was on one of sun's coming out. I like this expression I've got you. I used it this week with I've got you.
It's strange what desire will make
feel this way. What a wicked thing to do, to make me dream of you. What a wicked thing to say, to never felt this way. What a wicked